Thanks a lot for your interest in the modeling of the door so far, and hopefully you'll be interested in the texturing as well, although this is going to involve Substance Painter, and not everybody has that. But if you do, or if you're just interested to see how it works, you can check this out. So yeah, what I did is I moved this piece up a little bit, as I said I probably would, and I moved the doorknob in a little bit, and that's that. And then I've also added some materials. So as you can see, this one is called back. This whole piece here is called wood. I've got a knob and I've got a metal plate, and those are the materials. Oh, and I also have a trim. Having separate materials will allow me to do separate UVs to maximize the texture resolution. Each UV, each material will be a different texture set in Substance Painter, as you'll see. Okay, I've also applied in things like bevel modifier. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select here, and it is always good practice to come in and merge by distance, just in case. Make sure all your polys are facing the right way. So I'm just going to select this and press U, Smart UV Project, and I'll give an island margin of 0.003 and hit OK, and this is what I will get. I'm going to use UV Pack Master to pack, but you can use Blender Pack, and that's going to move the islands around and sort of maximize the space or whatever. So that's done. I'm going to hide that. Take this piece, just unwrap, and that's probably good enough as it is. I'll hide that. I'll take the trim, and for this I'm going to use Smart UV Project, and I will pack. I'll hide that, and for this one I'm going to try cube projection, and I'll get this and pack, and I'll hide that. And then for the knob, I think I will look from the underside. I'll come in, and I have added some seams, as you can see here. So I've got a seam going all the way down the bottom to here, and I did cut it like that. I've added a seam here and a seam here, and what I should tell you is that I will often unwrap a part of my model and test it in Substance Painter, and if it looks good, then it's fine, and if it doesn't look good, I'll come back and I'll try a different unwrap. So for example, I could have not put any seams and Smart UV projected this, and then the islands would be broken up and they'd be all over the place, and it's kind of really weird, and it probably wouldn't have worked very well. Alright, at any rate, I'm going to unwrap. Now, I could leave it like this and test it, but I think I will straighten some of this stuff out. So the way I'll do this in Blender is I will find something that looks like a nice square, and then I'll still straighten it a bit. So I'll go SY0 and select this edge, SY0, this one SX0, and this one SX0, and then go into face selection by 3, and then select the one I just adjusted, and Control L, and then right click, follow active quads, and now I can scale it up, a little bit, and it's like that. And I won't do all of them, but I think I'll do this one here as well. So just find a square that looks pretty decent. SY0, SY0, SX0, SX0, select that one, Control L, and follow active quads. I'll take that and I'll scale it also. So by scaling individually, you may change the proportions of your stuff, but I'm not too worried. I'll take that piece there and I'll just scale it sort of globally, and this piece, take that and I'll scale it a little bit. I have a separate material, of course, on here, which is the knob, and that allows me to use the entire UV space. Instead of trying to cram the whole model into one, or using the other, which is the UDIM method, which is something we could talk about another time. I've done a bunch like that. Okay, I could straighten this one too if I really wanted to. Maybe I'll give that a shot. SY0. I just chose one that I thought looked not too bad. It's not a square, obviously it's a rectangle, but that's should be okay. Select that one, Control L, and follow active quads. Now, it's possible that even without straightening, that would have been fine. So I may have tested it as it was, but this will probably be better. I'm going to bring, not that, bring everything else back, save. So, as far as I know, everything has its own material now, and it has a UV map as well. So we're ready to go. We take this now, and we create an FBX for this. All right, so make sure it's saved, and export an FBX of this. So I'll come in here, door texture video is good, selected objects, export. In Substance Painter, I will go new. I will switch this to OpenGL, compute, select, and door video texture. Where is it? Door texture video. Okay, okay. And there is it. You can see all my materials, back, knob, metal plate, trim, and wood. Wait, if I hide that's wood. Yeah, okay. All right, so bake the mesh maps. Bake mesh maps. We'll do this at 2K, uncheck ID, and let it go. The unwrap is done, and now we'll have a quick look at this. It's looking okay to me. So before I begin, I will turn on anti-aliasing, and that'll make it look just a little bit better. All right, so let's start with something easy. Let's start with the knob and the metal plate. To do this, I'm going to use a material. I'm going to search for metal, and I'm going to use iron rough. I'm going to drag that in, and we'll zoom in here. So we're looking at the knob there. All right, I'm going to come into the properties, and I'm going to change the color. I want it to be a darker metal like that. Okay, and that's going to be fine to start. The next thing I'm going to do is add a fill layer and just color, whitish color. We're going to do some metal edges, so I'll add a black mask and what am I calling? A generator. And for the generator, I'll just choose metal edges. And I think that will probably be good enough for what I want to do. I'm just going to reduce this quite a bit. And I want to get this kind of white, kind of stained kind of stuff there. And that's fine with me. We could try to break this up if we wanted to. We could look at changing the grunge scale and seeing what that's like, but no, I don't think I really want to do that. If you did want to paint on there, let's just see this. The dirt's going to go in there. Hang on, let me get that back. Where did you go? Oh, by the way, you should have a look for seams, and I'm not really seeing any. So that unwrap seemed to work well, and Substance Painter sometimes plays very nicely, and sometimes you have to struggle with that a bit. What I could do is I could add a paint layer here, and I could come to my brushes and choose something like dirt. I'll try this dirt one. I'll just scale it down, and just to show you, out of there. If I do that, you see I can paint. If I press X, I can sort of cut away that. So if I didn't want it like that, I could, I could do this kind of thing, and then I could come back in and maybe decrease the flow and just put it in myself. And I'll probably end up doing just leaving it like that. I'm not going to see it very close up. That it doesn't look like a solid line. All right, so I'm going to label that as edges. And now I'm going to add another fill layer, and I will use color and roughness. We're going to do dirt, so roughness all the way up. And I think I'm just going to be lazy and just choose a dark color instead of going for a brown kind of dirt color. I'll add a generator, and I probably will just use dirt like that. And as you can see, some of the dirt has gone in there anyhow. It's a little bit heavy on the back, so I'm just going to bring it down. We're not really going to see in there, so I'm just going to leave it like that. And that's my doorknob right there. You could try different masks if you didn't want to. So for example, I'll clear that, and I've got a black mask there. So you come over to Smart Masks, and you could search for dirt if you wanted to, and then you could try like dirt cavities and see, and then adjust the balance, dirt soft edges. But I think I'm going to stick with the generator one and just scale it down. Just leave it like that. And I could put some scratches on there, I suppose. So let's try that. All right, add a fill layer, and I'm going to use, I'll try height and color for the moment. Drop this down a little bit so they're indented. I'm going to add a black mask and then a fill. Go into the fill and the grayscale. I'll search for scratches. I'll use this last one here. And you can see it's put some scratches in there. And then I can adjust the balance and a number of other things. When I up the resolution, they will become a little bit more evident. Let's have a look at doing that. All right, I'm at 1024. Let's bring that up to 2048 and see what the scratches look like. Okay, not too bad. Kind of want them a little deeper. I don't know. Am I nuts? You know, something like that. And then you can come back here and you can have more or less. Change the tiling. You're not going to see them very well, so they're just there. Maybe I'll just decrease that. All right. Let's say that was good. Now, what I might do is take all this and Control G. That'll put it in a folder. And I'm just going to leave it like that, I think. And I think I will copy that. And I'm going to come over to the metal plate, delete that, and paste that in. And see how I like it. And I do like it, unless I'm missing anything, even with the scratches. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. You can put, you know, I'll probably put grunge actually on this. You'll see that in a bit when I do that on the wood. So I'm going to leave that for the moment. All right, so I'm on the wood layer, and I'm going to start with the fill layer. And I'm going to come in and try to get a dark brown kind of color. Starting with something like that. And I'll bring the roughness up to about there. Okay. I'm going to add a black mask and a fill. And in the fill, I'm going to search for a directional noise 2. That one there, directional noise 2. Drop that in. That's starting to look a little bit like wood. And I'm going to be changing this in a moment. Maybe I'll change it right now. Let's try this. Multiply and lower that. I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment. And I'm going to call this noise. I'm going to add another fill layer. And this one I'm going to make a light brown. I'll start with that and see how it goes. Okay, I'm going to add a black mask and a fill and go into properties, and this time I'm going to search for wood, and this wood 01, I'm going to add that. I'm going to bring the knots down to actually 0, I think, and I'm actually going to change this back, and I'm going to try this one. We'll try multiply here. Did I lose it? Okay, I'll do it up here. We'll change this to multiply. And drop the intensity down. So I have that pattern in there, and I have the other noise. If I hide it, you see that one and that one, and I can adjust these. And this one I'm going to call wood pattern. Now it's not going to be exactly how it's going to look yet, so I'm going to add one more fill layer, and I'm going to change this color to a dark brown. And I think I'll come to here. I'm going to lower this down. And I'm going to put this on multiply. And just play with the color. And bring the roughness up. I'm going to start with that. Actually, I might make this one a little darker. What you're going to notice is that the grain is not going in the correct direction. So we're going to account for that, and then we'll make this look a little bit nicer. All right, so just before we do that, let's come over here and let's maybe decrease the height of that a little bit so we get a little bit more texture to that. Okay, so we need to adjust that. This is going to be color. All right, I'm going to create a new fill layer, and I'm going to call this change direction. And I'm going to alt-click on color and then turn it off, so no channels are turned on. But up here, I'm going to change all of these to pass through. So I'm just going to cycle through them. Height is going to be passed through. Roughness is passed through. All of them are passed through. And the last one, normal. Pass through. I'm going to switch this back to base color. All right, so I've done that. Now I'm going to add a filter right on here, and the filter is going to be the transform filter. I'm going to change the rotation to 90 degrees, and you can see what that's done already. But I'm going to add a black mask, and now I'm going to look at my wood and say, okay, I want this one to go across like this. This one I don't want vertical, so I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to leave it on this polygon fill. I'm going to click here. Sometimes you'll have to click in a couple places. So this one goes across. I want this one changed. It's going to be up and down, across, up and down, across, up and down, and across. These ones I want up and down, so I'm going to click there. That height might be a bit too much, but I may have to sort of box select here to get everything there. I'm going to come back and we'll have a look. It looks like all of my wood grain is now going in the direction that I want. All right, I just want to come back here and change this to -0. You know what? -0.03, let's say. Just a small amount. All right, so far so good. All right, so that's my wood, and I've got the change direction. I think I will Control G, put that in a folder, and I'm going to call that wood. All right, now I'm going to add some edge wear, or metal edges really. I want just I'm gonna try just white. We'll see how that looks. Add a black mask, generator, metal edges. Bring it down so I just have just a little bit, and maybe even on the very top, just like that. So this is going to be edges. And now dirt. Color and roughness, roughness up, dark. And this will help. Black mask, generator, dirt. So that darkens the wood up a little bit. And then, you know, you can go back in and tweak the colors if we don't like them. And I may do that a little bit later. I don't want to spend all your time. Now, I'm liking that so far, so I'm going to take this. In fact, I'm going to take all of these. I'll take all of those, copy them, and I'm going to come to the trim, delete that, and paste. But I will come into which one? This change direction one, And I'm going to clear the mask. I'm going to focus just on the trim. And you can see here that some of my trim, it goes sideways. And I think I want this stuff to go up and down. Well, let's have a look. So I'm going to select and box select and just have a look. And I think I'm going to like that better. So it'll go horizontal on these pieces and vertical on those. So let's do all of that. So I sort of box select those. And that's the bottom ones, or the middle ones actually. And these will change direction, and you can see them changing as I do this. Very easy to do. Instead of going into individual layers, you know, and try to change the rotation, which you sometimes can do. But when you have more than one layer, it can be a pain. All right, so there's that. So I now have some dirt on those. The same color. Now I can still go and I can change colors on this wood if I don't like it. I do want a little bit more stuff on here, and so I think what I'll do is I'll go back to the wood and let's put it I can put it above. Let's add one more fill layer, and we'll go for color and roughness, and the roughness will be quite high, sort of a dust kind of layer. Add a black mask and a fill. And in the fill, I'm going to add a grunge. And just search for a grunge that might work. Let's see what that does. I just want this kind of a thing. Just a dirty grunge. I think I'm going to make this a little bit more brown, the wood. Just something like that. Oh, there. Where I just let it go. That's what I like. Right there. Grunge. Now that I like that, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put that on top of the trim as well. So I've got it there. Okay. And maybe not quite as intense, and same thing on this wood. When I do this on camera, I don't take as much time as I would normally. All right. And by the way, I might actually add some height, a little bit of height, so it's like on the surface, almost like splash paint. You can't really tell very well there. Now I want this grunge. Oh, I want that back. I'm going to copy that. I also think I want to try it on the knob, so I'm going to paste that, and I think it's on there a little bit, and on the metal plate. Yeah, little bits on there. And of course I can come in here and I can and I change the scale on there. That looks fine. It's just a little bit of something on there. Okay, so far so good. Initially, I was thinking of taking this wood here. Let's take this wood. I'll take all of it actually, and I might not need the edges. Let's have a look at this on here. And I was thinking of doing that, but now that I think of it, I think I want to use like a glass, but not a transparent glass, just reflective. So without even changing the shader to alpha blending and opacity, I'm going to try Smart Materials glass. And I have this glass, dirty glass film. You know, some of them come with Substance Painter, like the visor ones, and some of them you have to, find and download. Let's try this glass dirty. And that reflects whatever HDRI I have in the background, and it's already got some dirt, and that is actually the look that I want to go for instead of the wood. Now, whether it makes sense to have glass all throughout there, I don't know. Yeah, I could go with that. We could have a look at looking in different lighting, and that will, give you a nicer view, and that's kind of what I like right there. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll come back to the wood, and I want to have a look at this color one here, and just play with this a little bit. I'm going to drop the roughness a bit. You could do a roughness variation, that would be nice, but I want this old sort of dry looking door. So let's have a look at upping the resolution now for these things. I'll bring this to 2048. Should get a little bit more detail in here. Let's try adding scratches to the door. And let's do this with, let's use color and height. Drop the height down. We'll leave the color like that for now and see how it looks. We'll add a fill. Come in here and choose scratches. Okay, that's a little bit much. Just a touch of those. And again, you know, it kind of mixes with the grunge look. And you know, you could look at trying different colors. You could say, oh, try black. Does that look any good? Not as visible. I don't like it as much. You try red, like blood. I'm gonna leave it like that though. All right. And since I kind of like those, I'm gonna copy that layer and try it on the trim as well, and to see if it's over the top or just adds a couple more here and there to look a little bit more consistent. All right, let's go back now to the texture settings. So we got that. On the trim, we can up the resolution as well, and then we'll have a final look at it. Okay. Metal plate doesn't really need it. There's not much going on. Doorknob probably doesn't, but I could do that. It's already at 2048. And let's see, this is the glass really. Now you could come in here, you could change it now that you know that it's called glass. Let's just have a look at 2048. The crack might look a little bit better in the dirt. All right, so that's what we have. There's our door. Okay, you could then decide if you like the blending, if you need more of the first layer and less of the second, all of that kind of stuff. And then of course test it out with different lightings, which will give you a good idea of how it might look in Blender. I'll just cycle through a few of them so you can see. Okay. Well, I think that gives you a pretty good idea. So there is the door. I'm not worried about the direction of the sides. You could change that as well. All right, so we've got our own little procedural wood. We've got some grunge in there. We've got some dirt. And we made our own metal as well. All right, cool. So hope to see you in the next video. If you do make the door, good luck. And hope you enjoy it. Take care.